Hey everybody, this is Nick from First Coast Math Clinic. In this video, I'm going to show you how to compare fractions and determine which fraction is larger. Let's get into it. So before I show you how to compare fractions, I want to talk about a case study with you that will hopefully explain why it's important to be able to compare fractions. In 1973, McDonald's released their quarter pounder, which contains 1/4 pound of beef prior to cooking. To compete with McDonald's, in 1980, A&W released their Third is the Word burger, titled so because it contains 1/3 of beef prior to cooking for the same cost as McDonald's quarter pounder. A&W put a great deal of effort into their advertising and thought that since they were offering a larger sandwich for the same price as the quarter pounder, their burger would sell pretty well. However, sales were not as successful as they thought. When A&W conducted focus groups to figure out why their sandwich was not selling as well as they thought it would, they realized that most people in the focus group thought incorrectly that 1/4 was larger than 1/3, and their sandwich was actually smaller than the quarter pounder. Well, friends, you and I know better, and after watching this video, you're going to be able to correctly compare fractions. But before we look algebraically at how to compare fractions, let's look at a visual representation of these fractions to show that 1/3 is in fact larger than 1/4. So let's start here. So we've got one whole piece and 1/4 is going to be divided into 4 pieces, and we want one of those 4 pieces. So that's this blue piece here. I'll do the same thing with 1/3. So we've got the same size piece that we're starting with, and we want that divided into 3 pieces, the size of the number in our denominator. And our numerator is 1, so we want one of those 3 pieces. That's our blue piece here, and we can see clearly that that blue piece from our 1/3 is larger than the blue piece from our 1/4, so that's our larger section, and 1/3 is going to be bigger than 1/4. All right, let's go through some algebraic methods that we can use to compare fractions. So for number 1, we've got 1/4 and 1/3, and we know from our previous example, our visual example, we know that that 1/3 should be larger. Well, how can we do this algebraically? Well, what we want to do is cross multiply and cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply denominator times numerator. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. Now we're comparing these two values, 3 and 4. 4 is larger than 3. I'm going to bring that inequality down. 1/3 is bigger than 1/4, or 1/4 is less than 1/3. That's it. That's an easy way to do it. Let's do the same thing here with number 2. Let's cross multiply. 7 times 2. And we get 14. 1 times 5. And we get 5. Well, 14 is bigger than 5. Bring that inequality down. 2/5 is bigger than 1/7. So for number 3, we've got 2 and 1/3 and 2 and 5/8. So let's compare these two. Well, we notice that we've got a 2 and a 2 as our whole number. So we know those 2's are obviously equal, so we can kind of get rid of them. We're just going to compare the 1/3 and the 5/8. So now let's cross multiply. 3 times 5 is 15. 8 times 1 is 8. 15 is greater than 8. Or 8 is less than 15, and 1/3 is less than 5/8. So if we bring that up, we're going to have 2 and 1/3 is less than 2 and 5/8. And for number 4, we've got 7/2 and 13/4. So we've got improper fractions, so let's cross multiply our improper fractions. 4 times 7 is 28. 2 times 13 is 26. 28 is greater than 26, or 7/2 is greater than 13/4. If we want to convert our improper fractions to mixed numbers, we could do that also. So to convert this, we can divide 7 by 2. We'll go in 3, subtract, we get 3 and 1/2. And the same thing here, we'll divide 13 by 4. 4 goes into 13 3 times. We get 12. We subtract and get 1, so we get 1/4. So we get 3 and 1/4. We have 3 and 3 as our whole number, so we're comparing 1/2 and 1/4. Well, 1/2 is bigger than 1/4. Again, if we do the cross multiplication, let me clean this up a little bit. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. 4 is bigger than 2. 3 and 1/2 is bigger than 3 and 1/4. And the inequality matches, so 7 and 1/2 is 7 over 2 is greater than 13 over 4. This video was on how to compare fractions. If you like this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. This is Nick from First Coast Math Clinic.